As we take a look at the tail of the tape between Christian Lao and Joe Wilson Jr. Wilson with a slight height advantage, Lao with a pound weight advantage over Joe Wilson Jr. With both competitors now in the ring, we will send it to our ring announcer, Jamie Beliveau.
Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with white trim. He weighed in at 152 pounds. His professional record of 4 wins against 2 defeats with 1 draw. 2 big wins coming by way of knockout. From New Haven, Connecticut, here is Christian Lao. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the gold and black trunks. He weighed in at 151 pounds with a professional record of 1 win against 0 defeats. Hailing from Hartford, Connecticut, here is Joe Wilson Jr.
Christian Lao wearing the black trunks with the silver trim. Joe Wilson Jr. wearing the multicolored trunks. We mentioned that Christian Lao has fought some serious opposition in his young pro career thus far. He's fought Gabriel DeLuc, who was undefeated at the time. Even his so-called easy fights were tough and rugged journeymen, guys like Antonio Chavez Fernandez, whereas Joe Wilson Jr.'s lone pro fight to this point was a 4-round decision win over Saul Almeida, who is a serious mixed martial arts competitor who boxes on occasion, and it looks like a right hand from Lao stunned Wilson in the early moments of round number 1.
Part of that is also balance. I think his balance was there, and I'll tell you what, if you judge him on the outfits, Joe Wilson's got a pretty nice looking outfit out there right now, but you mentioned earlier about the weight, and actually you can, even though it's not much heavier than he's been, you can actually see the little extra weight on Lao. That may come into play later on in the fight, but I do notice that, and if Wilson was smart, he'd try and capitalize on, maybe get inside and throw some body shots, see if that affected Lao, especially since Lao was dropped by a body shot in a previous fight.
Nice right hand by Wilson moments ago. Yeah, you can see a little bit of softness on Christian Lao that you normally don't see around his midsection.
And Wilson caught him with a nice right hand right there, stunned him a little bit. But one thing about Wilson, I see a lot of it, is his balance a little off. When he throws punches, he's leaving himself in a position to get countered.
And you were talking about the balance of Joe Wilson.
Yeah,
he hits the canvas.
That was right there, yep.
Rolled a slip, no knockdown scored.
You might see a little bit more of that too tonight, because you do have a lefty versus a righty. Might see some stepping on feet, some headbutts.
Wilson is fighting in southpaw stance. Christian Lao, an orthodox fighter.
There is bleeding on Christian Lao. Looks on the bridge of his nose, the upper bridge. Yeah, I mean, Wilson falls in with his shots, and he's leaving himself wide open for a counter. He's been lucky so far. He hasn't got caught with anything really big, but he's definitely in the danger zone there. Nice jab right there from Wilson. He needs to stick that out there more often. You can tell Wilson has it in his head that he wants to knock him out.
Lao has been stopped once in his career. It was in his 3rd pro fight.
I believe that fight was in Hartford.
Yes, it was, as round one comes to a conclusion.
His opponent in that fight was a very, very big puncher. I remember that fight pretty good.
Jose Calderon from Puerto Rico.
Yep, he was a big puncher. I think he's like 3-3 now, but at the time he was 1 or 2-0, and he could definitely crack.
And he just caught Christian Lao cold, and Lao really didn't have much of a follow-up and got stopped on his feet. As we see Christian Lao being tended to in the corner by Louis Rosa, who is working his corner tonight. Louis Rosa, one of the best trainers in New England in my estimation.
And he was a very, very tough fighter back in his day as well. I think Wilson's still breathing hard. I think he got a little excited that first round. It's only his second fight as a professional. Maybe he still has to work a little bit of the nerves out there, but he needs to calm down a little bit this round, stick to the game plan and box him. Despite not fighting the perfect first round, I thought Wilson did enough that first round to pull that one out.
Did you think it was a close round?
Wasn't super close. I mean, he just landed a lot more shots. Lao didn't throw enough punches to win it, but he wasn't overwhelming victor. But I think he was a clear-cut victor of that round.
Nice right hand by Wilson. Nice right hand by Christian Lao. You know, one thing that is a testament to Christian Lao and his crew is that he has not been shy to step up and take competitive fights early on in his career. The Jose Calderon fight we mentioned earlier, the Gabriel DeLuke fight. He even fought an undefeated fighter by the name of Thomas Miller with national amateur experience from West Virginia here at Foxwoods just last year.
No, he's never been afraid to fight, and that experience is helping him for sure. A lot of fighters are scared to take that step up early on, but you kind of need those fights to learn a little bit from them and get better.
Now, we've seen him fight as low as 140 pounds as a junior welterweight in the past. Do you think the fact that he's in against a bigger foe tonight is having any ill effect on him? Certainly not right now, as Joe Wilson Jr. is the one trying to clinch, as Christian Lau's the one trying to fight.
No, right now I don't think it's affecting him too much, because also, if you look in the corners, the one breathing harder is Wilson in the corner. But like I said, in an extended fight, just with the soft midsection, he probably wants to be more around the 140 range.
Nice right hand by Lao. And Lao indicates to the official that there was some contact made with each fighter's head. But as he did that, he did not let his eyes leave his opponent, which I thought was very smart, because I've seen fighters look at the ref sometimes and get drilled as a result of it.
Look for help and boom.
Christian Lao loses his mouthpiece.
At the beginning of the round, he wasn't doing as bad, but Wilson is now. You see that balance coming into play again. He's throwing punches, putting himself in a precarious position that's opening him up for a counterpunch.
The reason why I asked you at the end of round one if you thought round one was close after you told me you thought Joe Wilson won the frame was because I gave round one to Christian Lao.
I looked at it like some of those big shots that Wilson was landing. And despite some of his shortcomings, what he was doing with the balance, I just thought that he did a little bit more. But this round, I think the opposite.
As we take a look at the corner of Joe Wilson Jr.
Christian Lao caught him with some nice counter punches inside right there that round. He needs to do more of that, though.
You got to stick with what worked in the first round, right? Why change it? Snap that jab, man. You busted him up in the first round. The second round, you didn't do shit with your jab hard. Right?
In the corner of Joe is Paul Cichon. He's a very veteran trainer, very good trainer. He handled most of the career of Matt Remillard. He started him out from when he was a kid in amateurs and brought him all the way up to where he was.
Matt Remillard finished off his career competing on HBO, which everyone who follows boxing know is really the sport's highest level and where the fighters make the most money.
Yep. To be able to make it to that level alone is a testament to how good he was.
And I reflect upon his career as it's in past tense, but who knows, perhaps it could resume someday.
Definitely.
Round 3 of the scheduled 4-rounder between Joe Wilson Jr. and Christian Lau.
One thing I've noticed in the whole fight overall is that the experience of Christian Lau is helping him in the sense that he seems more relaxed in the ring. He's definitely more calm and he's able to pick his shots a little bit better. Joe Wilson a little bit more excitable, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact he only has one fight. And right now he's timing Wilson. Every time he comes close, he catches him with a little shot, and Wilson doesn't get a chance to get off. And right now Wilson's not doing much at all. He's letting Lau control the pace of the round.
Nice left hook by Christian Lau.
Lau's showing to be a much better fighter on the inside also right now, I think.
Good competitive bouts thus far tonight here at the Fox Theater at Foxwoods Resort Casino. And this fight is another example of just that. Good work by matchmaker Michael Parente this evening.
Very good fight so far, very good. And I think Wilson needs to get to work if he wants to try and steal this round. There's a minute left. If he pours it on right now, he might be able to pull it out, but Lau's been controlling the action from the opening bell. And on the ropes is not where Joe Wilson wants to be right now.
And just prior to finding himself on the ropes, he was actually doing a good job keeping his distance and working off that jab against Lau.
Lau just fighting a very, very smart round this round. Very nice round for Christian Lau right there.
So round 3 concludes. 3 more minutes of boxing remaining in this fight.
And I know you and I differed on round 1, but I think round 2 and 3, I don't think there's really any debate as to who won the round.
Christian Lau has a shutout to this point on my scorecard, 2-1 on your scorecard after dropping the opening round. And Joe Wilson Jr. would need to win this round definitively to get a draw on your scorecard. But I think to play it safe, not knowing what the judges' scorecards have tallied to this point, he needs a knockout.
Possibly, but you've got both guys from Connecticut. The thing is right now is Joe Wilson would have to change basically everything that he's doing in this fight. He'd have to come out this round and do it differently because nothing in those last 2 rounds was working for him. And if he comes out with that same mindset and game plan this 4th round and not change anything up, it's going to be a foregone conclusion.
What's that?
And the corner of Joe Wilson Jr. is being commanded to wipe some Vaseline off of Joe Wilson Jr.'s face. As they did douse him in some gasoline, as you can see in his goatee.
Yep. He came out and landed a nice 1-2, but Christian Lau just answered back. And surprisingly, Lao's had a good success with his jab, and you usually don't see that much when you have a right-handed fighter against a southpaw. The only thing Lao's got to be careful of here, he's got his hands very, very low. You don't want to get caught with a shot here, especially if you're winning the fight. Not everybody's Floyd Mayweather. And for a guy who I really think needs to win this round big, Joe Wilson is not doing much at all right now. And a nice little shot right there, but
straight right body, back with the left hook. Let's go. Just don't wait on it.
see, that's the kind of game changer that Joe Wilson needs. But might be too little too late. He's got to jump right back on him. Didn't really hurt him, but he connected with a nice shot. And Lao answers right back right there.
That's all he's got. Keep that left right where it was and step it to the body.
In close quarters, they're fighting.
Wilson's landed some big shots right there, and Lao is almost inviting it by holding on that other hand.
Yeah, it was interesting that despite the fact they were fighting in close quarters, Wilson was getting the better of that action at that
Wilson
moment.
caught him with 2 or 3 really nice shots right there. But they don't seem to phase Lao at all.
Bring your feet into it, Dad. You got the power with it.
This has been a very tough round to score.
And this fight is going to come to conclusion, and if Joe Wilson Jr. was able to win that round.
It's tough because the first minute of the round, neither guy did much. The second minute of the round, I thought that, or the second half of the round, Joe did well, but then at the end there, Christian came back a little bit. That's a tough round to score right there. I think that round could end up going either way.
As we take a look at some highlights from round number 4. You see that moment where Christian Lao tried to hang on to Joe Wilson Jr. as he was affected by Joe Wilson's punches. I think I give round 4 to Wilson in my scorecard, but I had Lao sweeping the first 3 rounds, so I have a 3 rounds to 1 win for Christian Lao.
And I thought the same. I thought Wilson did pull that 4th round out, especially when he landed those 3 big shots. And Lao was holding his arm in that corner. Those might have been the 3 biggest shots of the round. The first round, like I said, I gave it to Wilson, and it could be a draw, but I think it could go either way. I don't see any scenario where Wilson wins the fight. The best I think he can hope for is a draw.
So a slight win for Lao on my scorecard, a draw on your scorecard. Will await the official judges' scorecards, which we should have for you in a mere moment. As Christian Lao has his hands up in the ring, he feels as if he's won, as Joe Wilson Jr. is still taking his gloves off in the corner, as both fighters head to the center of the ring, where we will have the verdict announced momentarily.
And having a fight like the last fight that was a draw, this fight could be a draw. It's close either way you look at it. Is definitely a testament to the matchmaking tonight. Very good job.
We'll go inside the ring to our official ring announcer, Jamie Bellavow, in a mere moment, as they're taking their time tabulating these scorecards just as they did in our most recent fight between Marcia Agrippino and Michelle Cook, which turned out to be a draw.
I think they want to make sure they get the scorecards correct. If you want to understand, it might have been just a typographical written down error the last time. That's why it was read wrong, and I just want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, both fighters are inside the ring, and the commission is still taking their time getting the scorecards to our ring announcer, but they hand them over to him. And as he looks them over, We are just a mere moments away from finding out the verdict of our third pro fight of the evening between Joe Wilson Jr. and Christian Lau. And for our winner, we go inside the ring to Jamie Beliveau.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of 4 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Bill Morandi scores about 37-39. Judge Peter Harry scores about 36-40. And Judge Ken Ezzo scores about 38-38 for your winner by majority decision. Fighting out of the blue corner, Christian Lau.
So Christian Lau wins via majority decision. One judge had it even. One judge had him winning 3 rounds to 1. So 2 of the 3 judges saw it either way we could have, Ted. One judge had it, interestingly, a shutout for Christian Lau, but Christian Lau victorious nevertheless.
I mean, you can't really argue with the shutout even because, again, it depends on what the judge is looking for. Who knows what side of the ring that judge was on and maybe saw more positivity from what Wilson did, or I mean from Lau did than Wilson. So, but that was a good fight, and I think that the end result was proper.
Joe Wilson falls to 1 win, 1 loss. Christian Lau improves to 5 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw as Christian Lau defeats Joe Wilson Jr. here at Foxwoods Resort Casino.